Hello everyone and welcome to the Wolfsburg Jetta channel. I am Wolf and behind me is my 1986 Volkswagen Scirocco. And as you can see, I'm sitting in front of it because I'm going to be taking apart this whole light assembly here. Now on the other side behind me, I have completely disassembled it. I know how to disassemble it. I'm going to show you guys not only the disassemble process, but actually how to disassemble all of the light housing and everything that goes along with it. It's really simple, really easy, and other than that, let's get started. So volume-wise, it's going to be echoey in here because this is my garage. And with this, the Scirocco in front of me, so this whole headlight assembly is out. Pay no attention to this. All right, and the other one still hasn't been replaced yet. The reason I'm taking all this out is because I'm taking the whole front end off this car, minus the frame. Engine trans are eventually going to come out of it. We're going to redo a lot of stuff. As you can see, there's a lot of just surface rust that just looks disgusting. And so this is going to get sent to a body shop. This fender is actually in really perfect, pristine condition. The front apron, bumper, whatever, the front apron down here, it's kind of hard to see. I've also got my phone twisted. And you can see there's a little rust. That needs to be taken care of. So that's going to get done. And then this fender is actually miscolored from the whole car. It's actually easier to see if you go against the door and the A-pillar here. You can see completely miscolored, so it's going to have to get repainted to match the whole car. We're also going to take off the hood. That's why I actually have this disconnected, which is for the windshield wiper reservoir. The rest of it is still attached to the car. I didn't want to rip that completely off. That is for, I was getting weird glare when I first set up the camera for the first shot, and I had to just put that, somewhere else. So, I'm actually going to show you guys what it looks like without all the headlight stuff and the headlight shielding and all that sitting here. And this is what it looks like. So this is where the turn signal would be actually. It's a very big bulb. So you can see the bulb is still in good condition as well. So I will be keeping the bulb. I'm going to be careful when I set it down. Now this is actually very interesting because there are two different headlights. This is a Mark II generation or Mark II, second generation, Mark II, whatever you want to call it. There are two headlights you can see here. Now, one of the headlights, the outer ones, are actually the normal light, the normal headlights. Those are what's on at night. That's what lets you see, etc. You have just one turn signal here. It's very small, but it does work and do the job very well. People do see me when I go to turn and put my turn signal on. And then you have this light, which is actually used as the high beams. So when you turn on the high beams, this shuts off and this turns on. Now it is kind of weird that that's how that goes, but for the most part, it works. Now, fully off the top of my head, I don't know if both are supposed to light up at the same time. I'm assuming they're supposed to, so that could be a wiring issue if that's the case. I still need to look into it. But minus that, we're going to get to that in just 1 second. But I want to turn your attention over here, and I've labeled everything to an extent. So you have the headlight housing starting out. This is what holds the headlights in place, and it bolts it to the car. This is the turn signal here. This is held on by 5 screws. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5's kind of hidden back there. It's kind of hard. That was a little hard to get to, but not by much. The headlights then sit into this little, whatever shape you want to call it. And this is held on by 3 screws on the back side. So 1, 2, and then, so it's 1, 2, 3. And I actually will show it better when I take that off. Then you would take the headlights, place it in there, and this little cover actually holds the headlight in place. Now, when I say headlight and headlight housing, this is the actual housing. This whole thing is a headlight. There's no bulb that gets changed out. This is a full sealed headlight. Now, in the 80s, if this goes out, you'd have to get a full replacement one of these. Kind of annoying, depending on how you look at it. It is fully sealed in there. There's no way to take it out. This is a more modern version I got because I had the headlights where the original 2 headlights were actually, they burned out. Volkswagen doesn't make those anymore. So these are a more modern version. They don't work the best. They were kind of cheap, but I mean, they do work and they just don't fit very well in the headlight housing. I'll probably eventually get something different along the road because I will need to replace these because these are, well, I mean, it's just look at them. It's nasty. That's nasty. And then obviously you can kind of see this is where the connector prongs into. These are little trim pieces, nothing too fancy. They just go right down here. Now with all that explained and all the parts explained, this really only uses Phillips screws. Now I don't know if that's factory or not off the top of my head, but it's pretty easy for install and I can easily take that apart. So we're gonna get to that now here in a second. All right, now we're back. So what I'm gonna need is a screwdriver. I have a different type of screwdriver. So pretty much, I'm gonna go over how to take it off. You have your four screws, so we're gonna take those off first. Thankfully, because this is a US or North American model, it has this giant plastic bumper that is pretty big. It works great as a shelf too. You can kind of see this is kind of starting to come out towards me. I can kind of move it, not by much. Obviously those two bomb screws are going to keep it in place so it doesn't fly out at me, or fall out I should say. It's not going to fly out. Get to the bottom one's going to be a trick. There we go. You just want to make sure you don't lose that screw. It's a very tiny screw. You can see it. Oh no! My light glare fell. I don't know if I'll be able to put it back up. That might work. We'll see what happens. Oh, sit down for this. I was kneeling before. Head. There's a lot of like dust and like small little dirt. That is how big the screw is. Now this is just going to pull off, so we can see. So there's your little frame that holds it in place. And now I can pull the headlight towards me. Now, mine's being very crusty and very dirty. Kind of see, not by much. My hands are still a little clean, thankfully. I'm going to set this to the side. I'm going to put it over there eventually and label it like I do everything else so I can keep track of everything. But taking this off can be a little tricky. Oh, jeez. And the reason behind it is there's a lot of this, first off, age. And second, okay. We're going to come back as soon as I take this off. That actually didn't take me very long. It took me about a minute to do. So here's the old headlight itself. A little bit of a closer up. You can see there's your dual prong. You can kind of see it's a little bit of electric corrosion or whatever you want to call it. It's also very dirty around it. So replacing this is going to be a good idea. It's also kind of durable. You can see it broke off. It's actually interesting too, because that failed completely. So that is also another sign that we need to replace it. And because this is supposed to be a full sealed housing, we can actually take a look at the light bulb itself. So you can see right in there, there's your little light bulb. Usually you wouldn't be able to get access to this, at least to my knowledge. You might be able to pull off the light bulb because there's obviously no current running to this. There's no voltage, no amps, no ohms, nothing running to this, thankfully. I don't think I'm able to get this out. I'm not going to try. This is going to get fully replaced. I'm not going to keep it. But that is kind of crazy that it just broke off like that. Shows you, though, it definitely needs to be replaced if that happens that easily. Because I just tapped it very lightly. You can actually kind of see some of the plastic. I think this is actually... No, I'm sorry. This is metal, or glass. I would say metal, whoops. This is glass that broke off from this corner here. So yeah, that definitely tells me it needs to be replaced. Because that was not a lot of force. That's also some of the molding that's used, the sealant. Here's some more. I just picked some more. God, it's just breaking apart so easy here. Gosh. Okay. So, I'm going to go put this over there and then we'll continue. Now that we have our bulb put away and all that stuff, I can actually show you. This is the connector here. At some point, I'm going to go through and kind of clean this as best I can. Obviously, I can't put water or stuff through it because can't use just soap and water because I will then destroy the connector and, well, then I have no lights. But minus that, we are going to take the second one out now. Literally works the same as this one, just over to the side one. There's one. There is two. Three. And I have successfully taken off the fourth one. And as you can see, the headlight kind of moved a little bit. And so that's kind of what I was talking about earlier about it not being, well, not really being the best fitting. I mean, I also have to kind of pop this out, which I shouldn't have to do. There's our second frame. Another thing I do, I put the screw inside where it would screw into so I don't lose the screws. I will probably replace a lot of this hardware at some point, but as of right now, I don't want to lose it just yet. Or just lose it in general, actually, I say. Not even just yet, just in general. All right, we're back. I hit my back in the car. Ow. So, with this headlight, it's about the same thing. This actually should pull off pretty easily. Am I spoken too soon? No, it's coming. It's coming. Come on. Oh my gosh. There we go. You have to play a little bit of feelsy for the most part. There are your prongs. Now, this is designed for this three-prong system that you see here. A lot of older cars have kind of this three-prong design, and some modern cars do as well. So it's not the hardest thing in the world. This is also fully sealed, and I believe this is actually plastic. Yep, this is plastic versus metal. So obviously the vibrations aren't really the best idea, but you know, we're fine. Other than that, this is a full sealed housing. Once this goes out, I believe rumor is you could replace the bulb in this, but when it goes out, it goes out. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, now the part you've been waiting for. They took my eyes. I took your eyes. How does it feel? Probably sucks. Anyways, we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna explain a couple things that you're seeing because there's a lot going on here for such a small part. First off, you have the actual whole part of where the headlight holds onto. And to take it off, it can be kind of infuriating and hard to do. You don't really need to take it off if you're just taking off this whole bracket itself. This is considered a bracket. You kind of have to turn these with like a pair of pliers or some type of tool. Unbolt here, or unscrew here, and this just pulls off. We're not going to really do anything like that because I don't need these off. I just want the whole bracket off. And then taking the turn signal out, and I'll show you guys how to do that in just 1 second. It's not that hard. So first thing we're going to do, we're just going to unbolt all 5. Getting to this one back here is going to be a little tricky, but at the end of the day, we'll still get it. This also might sound kind of weird, so headphone warning in advance. Uh-oh. Okay, that screw gave me a little bit of problems. Might be able to see if I show the camera. It looks like it's starting to strip or has stripped just a little, so it's one thing I will be replacing. Again, I'm going to be replacing a lot of hardware on this car, small stuff, because I want it to be perfect. And I have a little shelf. On to the next. go. This one is a little trickier than... This one is a little trickier than the last one. On the other side, they weren't as snug as they are in here. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Kind of looked at that one. It looked like someone had put like plaster or something over this. That is just a completely messed up screw. I'm amazed they even got that out. And like I keep saying, this stuff's gonna get replaced. The hardware is gonna get replaced. Any screws, bolts, stuff like that, it's gonna get replaced. That one was easy. It came off. Now getting to this one's gonna be nice. This one's gonna be the tough one. I'm gonna move over here. Just get your touch to the ground. Get onto it. There we go. You kind of have to take this one from an angle, because I don't want to take this off fully. Now, this just comes out like sorts. It's our full bracket out. Now, turn signal. Let me switch over to this side again. Now, this is fun to play with. See, it's just, I shouldn't waste the battery. So, to get the turn signal light bulb out, it's actually really easy. So I'm going to pull it kind of a little towards, heard a little bit of like rubber cracking, or rubber. So there's a huge, I'm trying to show the camera, but it's kind of tough. So it is this part in here, and all it does is just, all you really have to do is pull, and come out. I'm going to double check and make sure we just didn't damage our bulb. The bulb looks good. It looks like it's starting to get a little worn, but not by much. Again, I know the turn signals on this car work pretty well. I did a kind of like a pre-trip on them, and so we're actually going to place that back here. Very careful, we don't bump that. We don't want to break that bulb. We also don't want to have to try and replace it. Haven't figured out how to get that bulb out. Don't need to, so I'm not going to touch it. But here is the bracket itself. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to show you guys. To get this turn signal lens off, you have a screw here, screw here, unscrews, hole comes out. I don't need to take this off, so I'm going to leave it on. If it was cracked, damaged, discolored, anything like that, I would take it off. But as you can see, colorization is pretty good, so I'm not going to mess with it. And I'm going to go put it over by my parts. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have taken off on both sides of the headlights and the headlight housings. The car kind of looks kind of spooky, actually. It's just woo. But in the next episode of this series of restoring the Scirocco, I'll be taking the hood off. I'll show you guys how to do that. Taking the hood stand thingy off, taking out the front grille, and we'll be doing a bunch of other small things regarding the front end. We're also going to empty out all the windshield wiper reservoir fluid without making a mess, because I don't want to make a mess in my garage, which is going to be all this stuff. I'm also going to go over a lot of the engine you see in front of you in another episode, as well as a bunch of other things while this whole car gets restored. And I'm also going to use this YouTube channel as kind of a bookmark for the restoration process. So if anyone wants to come back later in life and see anything that's done to this car or anything that was done to this car, there's kind of video evidence of it. Hey, I did this to the car. This is what I did to the car. So other than that, guys, I hope you did enjoy. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Please subscribe if you want to stay in tune with what goes on with this car. Please like this video so I know I did a good job. Throw me a comment. Tell me something that you found interesting, or if there's anything that I got wrong fact-wise or information-wise. I'm still doing a lot of research on this car. This car is very special to me, and I want to get everything right on it, and I want to do it all correct, and I want to get it all done and make it look amazing and make it look show car ready. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next video.